I'm Sigrid Moranz. I'm AAUW California Director for Leadership Development. Presenting tonight, our part one of Volunteers First will be Peggy Shippen, member of our Leadership Development Committee and author of this series. And she's going to be assisted by members of other branches and other states who helped in the development of this series. And we want to welcome all of you tonight, and especially special welcome to our guests from AAUW Oregon and AAUW Washington who are joining us tonight. All right, let's get started with Peggy, and we're going to put her in the spotlight. And there you go.
All right, thank you, Sigrid. Well, good evening again. I'm delighted all of you are here, and that so many of you chose to give of your time tonight to attend this groundbreaking program. Volunteers First is certainly not the program I started out with. It's not the one I quite envisioned giving a year ago, but it is what I now believe will empower AAUW leaders with the means to bring us joy and simultaneously retain engaged AAUW members, develop leaders, and keep the AAUW mission alive. Volunteers First took a village of longtime AAUW California and Oregon leaders and a few non-members. Today's program would not have been possible without Cheryl Blakely, MSW, University of Michigan, recent University of Michigan School of Social Work Dean's Advisory Board member, retired former director of the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation, and former president of AAUW Palm Springs branch, who, with her heart, wisdom, and the depth and breadth of her experience, inspired and helped me shape this vision. Author and consultant with AAUW of California, Barry Atland, who enlightened our understanding of why and how engaging the head, heart, and hands of volunteers increases member engagement, retention, and leadership, and consented to our using his book for this program. Sigrid Moranz, our AAUW California Branch Leadership Development Chair, gave me the autonomy and endless encouragement. And Gloria Holland, retired English teacher, longtime AAUW Salem, Oregon branch member, and branch playwright, helped me put pen to paper for a narrative I never could have done alone. Thank you all so much. Volunteers First is an awareness program designed specifically for leaders of volunteers. Volunteers First highlights the personal motivators that drive AAUW members' choices for volunteering, for joining, engaging, and leading. Volunteers First seeks serious consideration for a voluntary leadership pivot from primarily assigning tasks to primarily facilitating relationships and creatively orchestrating a branch and environment that fulfills our members' passion for serving. The leadership practices discussed tonight are also the basis for member recruitment. Research shows the volunteer motivators and coinciding leader behaviors presented are universal. When implemented together, there's a credible reason to believe AAUW leaders can and will experience the joy of a steady increase in membership, engagement, retention, and leadership, keeping AAUW and our mission alive well into the future. I'm not sure you're aware of this, but nonprofit volunteer organizations worldwide have been facing a steady decline in members and volunteers for over 20 years.
Peggy, can I interrupt you? We're not
Yes.
seeing your slides.
Oh, you're not? Oh.
No.
Oh, well. that I don't know about. Okay, gee, let me just go end here and see if, goodness sakes, sorry. I mean, gee, I didn't know. Okay, so let's go back here.
Peggy, are you sharing your screen down at the bottom of the band
I
where it
bet
says
I didn't,
share?
I didn't.
You didn't
Here we
do
go.
that.
I think I didn't
Okay.
push share the second time.
Second time.
Okay,
Ah,
thank you.
Oh,
Okay.
this little thing, my goodness sakes, let's,
Okay, just get it into, there you go, you're in slide mode. Okay,
all right.
get to where you are.
Let me see. Where am I? All right, I think
You're on
slide.
slide 3, I think.
Okay, so yeah. All right, I think we'll go back.
Nonprofits, yeah.
One, yeah. All right. So anyway, I'm not sure you're aware of this, but everybody's been having the same problem we have been having. Until recently, research that might have helped all of us was unavailable. AAUW and other nonprofits everywhere did the best they could and adopted the business leadership model for recruitment, retention, productive engagement, and leadership because it was familiar and it made sense. As we know, employees show up and work productively for money. Employees then use the money to buy things that will satisfy their basic needs, the ones on the bottom of Maslow's hierarchy of needs for food, water, shelter, safety, and comfort. Money is what touches the head, heart, and hands of the employee. Since money is the employee's main motivator, it follows a business leader's primary job is to keep employees productive and profitable, so there'll be enough money to keep the business going. Money is the payback given an employee for a job well done. AAUW has had excellent success in some areas using the business leadership model. Accountability to donors and members is good. And most importantly, we have developed an array of engaging community programs that have measurably advanced and empowered women and girls throughout the country. Sadly, the business leadership model has not helped volunteer organizations, AAUW included, with a solution to stop the steady decline in membership, volunteer engagement, and leadership. It is puzzling because our cause is one of such great passion to so many women. Try as we may, we have not been able to get out of this pickle. Since 1881, AAUW has prided itself in being unique by conducting research, giving us guidance for legislative advocacy and developing programs that empower women and girls externally. AAUW's continuing decline in membership begged to be researched internally. Sandy Gabe, former AAUW president of California from 2022 to 2024, made a bold decision to do just that. In 2022, former AAUW California members were surveyed and asked why they dropped their branch membership. Particular attention was given to answers of those who had been leaders and are actively engaged. Other than moving or illness, a significant number said they left AAUW because they felt unwelcome, disconnected, and or just became disinterested in participating, even for the cause. A year later, Sandy Gabe challenged the AAUW of California Leadership Development Committee to design an effective and credible leadership program that would retain and engage members, develop leaders, and be different than what we've been doing. because what we've been doing has not been working, at least to give us the membership result we need to survive. Our educational journey took months of research. After reading Barry Atlin's book, Engaging the Head, Heart, and Hands of Volunteers, and meeting with him in person, we started to understand why we were losing members and how to make a leadership correction. Since volunteers cannot be paid off with money to show up and be productive, Barry suggested we look inward for our volunteer motivators. In the 3 sessions he held last year for AAUW California branch leaders, we revisited what moves each of us uniquely to renew, stay engaged, and become leaders. Barry suggested that our intrinsic motivators are likely the same motivators as those of most of our members, similar to the ones on Maslow's hierarchy of needs. These motivators touch our heart and give us joy. Barry suggested once each AAUW member's volunteers' unique intrinsic motivators are discovered, all we have to do is develop a volunteer leadership program that replaces money as the payoff for engagement with branch opportunities that will give intrinsic needs satisfaction or joy to our members when engaging. Simply put, satisfaction and joy replace money as the payoff in the business model. We looked to see if there was any credible research that might support Barry's theory. And there is. Volunteer leaders around the world also seriously concerned about the drastic decline in volunteer membership, fairly recently conducted a study by interviewing volunteers worldwide. The results were conclusive. Universally, people volunteer to satisfy one or more of their intrinsic needs. And those intrinsic needs are to altruize, to socialize, learn, and self-actualize. These intrinsic needs, I've got some kind of echo. Is everyone hearing the echo or just me?
No, we're hearing the echo, I think, because some people are not muted. So we really need people to mute. And Sigrid, I gave you the information how to do that.
Okay, I think I'll just continue. That sounds like it's pretty good. Okay, so I'm just going to go back. The intrinsic needs are to altruize, to socialize, to learn, and self-actualize. These intrinsic needs for volunteers look much like the higher needs on Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Credible research indicates most of our AAUW members will choose to give of their time, talent, and skills when at least some of their intrinsic needs are met. Barry calls these the needs of the heart. Others may say it's the joy we feel when we are doing something for a cause we chose to join. The joy we feel when we socialize and feel belonging with like-minded people. The joy we feel when we learn together, or when we do something we always wanted to do but never had the opportunity. Simply put, volunteer engagement is an affair of the heart. Fulfilling the members' intrinsic motivators for volunteering touches their heart, drives their choices for volunteering, and sustains their passion for serving. The heart you see here is an actual patchwork quilt design. It symbolizes the joy volunteers feel when their intrinsic needs are satisfied. It represents our newfound awareness of the organizational and personal value of focusing first on the intrinsic motivational needs of our AAUW members. Looking back on my years as an AAUW leader, I have to admit I paid more attention to the needs of AAUW and our branch. Filling positions, planning programs and activities, rather than focusing on the intrinsic needs of our members. I thought each member was naturally intrinsically motivated to take on almost any AAUW task just because they had a passion for the mission. I know now I was wrong. Not all, but many AAUW members want more as an AAUW member than being assigned a task of which they have no passion or interest, no matter how important that task is for the cause or the branch. Branch administrative tasks in certain positions are undeniably needed to manage and sustain a branch, but most members are not interested in doing those jobs. Some are not even interested in engaging in successful activities and programs born of another's passion or another time. If members will not volunteer to take on an assigned task or join a program unless their hearts have been touched, then the focus of AAUW leaders must be to find which of the 4 intrinsic needs touches the member's heart. Trying to assign tasks, putting members into activities, and asking new and unengaged members to lead is putting the cart before the horse. With this newfound knowledge and organizational self-awareness, we can now choose to change our leadership model, or maybe just make a slight focus pivot from assigning tasks to creating a branch environment that will give each member an opportunity to experience personal joy and satisfaction while working for the cause. But how to do this in ways we can be certain will be successful and positive? Amazingly, we found another recent study, also conducted with volunteer organizations around the world, that gives us a credible focus and credible leadership guidance. Spinning off of the previous research mentioned, this study concludes successful leaders of volunteers put volunteers first, not the organization or what we as leaders want members to do to satisfy our agenda, our needs, our shoulds, or those of the branch. Successful leaders of volunteers' first leadership priority is building and facilitating relationships. 4 interconnected ways the study suggests for how leaders build and facilitate relationships is to care, connect, support, and recognize member volunteers in ways that are personally and satisfyingly joyful to them. We will cover care and connect tonight, support and recognition in the next session. To build and facilitate relationships, AAUW leaders must show they genuinely care about each and every member. An AAUW leader shows caring by personally getting to know each new member as well as getting acquainted or reacquainted with a renewing member who is not engaged. This is most effective when done in person by getting together with a member over a cup of coffee in a small cafe, at home, or outdoors in a park on a sunny day. Discovering what moves each member to volunteer is the first step and key to member engagement. And discovering what is in the member's heart, what each hopes to gain by being an AAUW member, is especially beneficial when done by a leader in person. What moves a member to participate varies for each person. Some may only want to socialize, to learn, or self-actualize. Some might want only to network for career or advance an AAUW-related cause. Just as young women, working women, and retired women all have different amounts of time to serve, all have different intrinsic needs for which they hope to gain by being an AAUW member. And some members' motivators may not be all that altruistic. Successful leaders of volunteers take time to personally discover every member's passion for volunteering, no matter how much or how little time that member can or is willing to give. As long as the member's interest is in benefiting women and girls and is related to the AAUW mission, leaders of volunteers welcome and care about each member as a person. Open-ended, getting to know you questions can help leaders discover what an individual member hopes to gain by joining or engaging as an AAUW volunteer, as well as learning their skills, interests, hobbies, and time frame for volunteering and gathering. Be curious about each as a person. Prompt and listen for their ideas and suggestions. Share current and past programs. Ask for suggestions and welcome new and creative ideas. Being open to suggestions for new programs, activities, and ideas shows the member you care, and she will be valued. A handout of sample getting to know you questions will be posted on the website, as will this narrative and the slides from this PowerPoint. We will also include the AAUW national public policies to help leaders clarify whether or not suggested programs and activities are actually related to the mission. AAUW members vote on these public policies every year, so they are an accurate reflection of endless possibilities for a member to have joy creating a new and different program that is related to the mission. Joyce Zook, past AAUW of Oregon co-president, a longtime AAUW Salem, Oregon branch member, and current branch membership co-vice president, has a story she would like to share.
Yes, this story is about the gingerbread house, and what a wonderful activity to engage. It was a few years ago when a friend was caring for her 2 young granddaughters. They were sitting at the kitchen table with gumdrops, icing, sprinkles, peppermint, and thin pre-baked cake walls for making a gingerbread house. She started making suggestions for what to do and how, bordering on perfection. But then her daughter said, "Mom, you need to remember that the process and their enjoyment of it is more important than the perfect product." With our AAUW members, if we want them to engage in ways that help women and girls advance, members must be invested in ways that meet their needs. Our priority as a leader is to ensure the process of their engagement is fulfilling and joyful.
Thank you, Joyce. The girls certainly look they are happily engaged. And I have to confess, these are my granddaughters 12 years ago. After getting to know new and unengaged members, AAUW leaders can begin connecting them to other members who are involved in branch activities of similar interest. Remember, AAUW's leaders' number one priority is not to assign tasks, even when connecting members to each other. Volunteers first, leaders' number one priority is to build and facilitate relationships. Leaders can avoid the temptation to assign tasks and recruit leaders by focusing on connecting member volunteers with each other, one-on-one, in a small group or large group, or even by Zoom. Connecting members facilitates relationships. Volunteers first leaders can get help from other members and begin creating an enjoyable branch culture of relationship building, inclusion, and belonging. Share the value of volunteers first focus with all branch members. Model caring and connecting members to each other. Encourage all members to care about and connect with members they don't know well. Express appreciation to those who show caring and connecting. AAUW leaders might find it helpful to create a welcoming team of interested members. Include all leaders, not just the membership vice president. Meet in person with a new or unengaged member. Meet, greet, and sit with them at meetings. Follow up or partner with members for a period of time to ensure they are being welcomed, included, and enjoying themselves. Another suggestion is to create a communication network. Keep all members in the know with a variety of notices, particularly to new and unengaged members. Make frequent personal contacts, following up and initiating two-way exchanges. Claudia Carmichael, president of AAUW Salem, Oregon branch, will share her rewarding experience laying the groundwork for a welcoming team and communication network. Claudia?
Oh, over the last year, I've been reading and trying to adopt Barry Outland's suggestions for engaging our AAW members. I have made caring and connecting new members a priority, and it seems to have worked. In the last year, we have increased our membership 15%, 12 members. Member engagement level has also increased, and new unengaged members are willing to take on co-leadership roles. I lead the effort, but work as a team. We're big on teamwork with the membership VP and 3 other members who make sure everyone has a name tag and serves as greeters at the gatherings. All 5 of us make sure new and unengaged members are sitting with someone with whom they are engaging. The membership VP and I make sure each potential new and unengaged member receives the newsletter even if they haven't joined yet. A couple of years ago, a branch member who was interested began sending out reminder notices to all members for upcoming monthly events. We also make sure our potential and new members get these notices also. The membership VP sends a get-to-know-you questionnaire out to all new members and chats with them about their reasons and hopes for joining AAUW, their skills, and their interests. With their permission, another member interviews the new member in person and writes a welcome article for the newsletter. Between myself and the membership VP, we arranged to introduce the new member to other members who have similar interest or are engaged in an activity that interests the new member. I keep a list of new and potential members near my computer, so if I don't see them attending any of the programs or interest groups, I call or email them to make sure they know what activities are planned and haven't fallen through the cracks. You can't always assume members read emails either. Sometimes it takes a phone call to alert them to upcoming events and encourage other members to call them also, especially if they have expressed interest in the group or activity the other member is leading. I guess the moral of the story is, as much as possible, don't give up. We all need to feel connected, and in this busy age, it sometimes takes a bit more effort, but it's definitely worth it. Thank you.
Thank you, Claudia. And it's been very successful. You've been very successful getting this going for our branch. In addition to creating the groundwork for a welcoming team and communication network to connect new and unengaged members, another suggestion is to regularly include circles of engagement in all gatherings. Circles of engagement provide members with an opportunity to connect with members they don't know well, learn about each other, create understanding, and learn how to talk to each other in new ways. Circles of engagement where all members are given the opportunity, encouraged by other members to participate, can be part of an all-member outing or interest group. Member orientation, having members share in the decision-making and give feedback, and even for yearly planning. Answering questions like, what do members need to make their volunteer experience more fulfilling? What do members want to keep doing? What's working? What's not working? What do members want to eliminate? What do members want to add? This might be a first step to a member acquiring interest in leadership or starting a new program. Cheryl Blakely, former president of AAUW Palm Springs branch, was the first to suggest and show the value of including circles of engagement in branch programs. She is here tonight to share a couple of those experiences with you. Cheryl?
Since 1881, AAUW women have been coming together to engage with like-minded women around the table. As strong women, we have had to face daunting challenges and controversial issues throughout our lifetimes. Sharing those experiences builds lasting friendships. After the pandemic, our branch book club thought it would be powerful and moving for all of our members to reunite with each other by having a table talk discussion about the moral, ethical, and personal issues raised in 2 of the books. After a brief presentation about Michelle Obama's book, All the Light We Carry, and Nina Totenberg's book, Dinners with Ruth, I asked members at each table to discuss, why did Michelle Obama choose to wear her natural hair and not wear the braids she so desired to wear when she was First Lady? What were the ethical issues Nina Totenberg and Ruth Bader Ginsburg faced in their decision to not disclose Judge Ginsburg's serious health issues, knowing that the Supreme Court needed stalwarts who supported women's rights, among other things? Lively discussions ensued at each table. Members reported out their comments. We got to know each other better by sharing our common personal experiences. Members said it worked because in small groups, no matter our age or background, we were able to discuss how our own lives were affected by these issues. As president, I made engaging members a priority and encouraged other leaders to do the same. Our efforts served as a catalyst for an increase in member participation, as well as retention and recruitment of new AAUW members. Okay, my second circle of engagement story happened during the pandemic. We were gearing up for our annual AAUW and Tech Trek fundraiser, which had to be by Zoom. Since we hadn't been meeting in person, we wanted to find a way to meet our members' needs, to socialize in a meaningful and fun way. Our members loved to dress up, and many hadn't had an opportunity to do so or get to know each other. So we created a hats off theme. That theme had a dual purpose: to honor the women and girls we support and to give us an opportunity to share something about ourselves. Each member wore a special hat and told the story that made their hat special. Members had a wonderful time. They enjoyed learning about each other, and their stories brought back happy memories, and fundraising goals were met. Engaging members in a way that touches their hearts and is also good for the AAUW cause.
Thank you, Cheryl. You're probably wondering, how is it possible to create time for circles of engagement when meeting time seems so short? Barry Outland suggests limiting leader and speaker time to 50% of the allotted time and using the other 50% of meeting time for circles of engagement. Using 50% of the allotted time for circles of engagement gives members time they wouldn't otherwise have, and maybe in no other setting, to think and reflect, to interact with a speaker, or engage in meaningful discussions with others they might not know, beyond socializing, which usually happens before and after meetings anyway. Leaders can welcome, ask, learn, and connect members to each other by simply floating around the room, being friendly, and chatting with members during social time. Leaders can also effectively connect with members during the 50% of the meeting time that is dedicated for branch business. Ask members to turn and introduce themselves to each other at every gathering. Communicate what's happening and how member participation fulfills the AAUW mission, and frequently share recent branch successes, connecting them to the AAUW mission. Yes, part of connecting all member volunteers to each other is to connect them to our common cause, the AAUW mission and values. Members sometimes leave an organization they perceive as not doing enough to fulfill the mission they chose to support when they first joined. In that regard, it is vital that branch leaders work with members, new and unengaged, to create an array of AAUW mission-related activities, programs, and other interest groups that give members the opportunity to experience the joy in belonging to AAUW. Many years ago, AAUW adopted the business leadership model. Perhaps the time has come for us to embrace a new AAUW Volunteers First leadership model, a leadership model with an image that envisions and represents caring and connecting, welcoming, inclusion and belonging, and empowering leadership, and an empowering leadership style of building and facilitating relationships. So, what have we covered today? AAUW members looked inward and found members leave AAUW because they feel unwelcome, disconnected, and disinterested. We've learned people worldwide volunteer for the opportunity to satisfy personal, intrinsic needs that cannot be satisfied elsewhere. People universally volunteer to altruize, socialize, learn, and or explore ways to self-actualize as payment for and while engaging joyfully in a cause of their passion. Volunteerism is a affair of the heart. Fulfilling our AAUW members' volunteer motivators touches their heart, drives their choices for volunteering, and sustains their passion for serving. This is your pivot point. As an AAUW leader, your first priority is not to assign tasks. Successful leaders of volunteers put volunteers first. In putting volunteers first, an AAUW leader's priority is to build and facilitate relationships with and among every member all the time. When we as leaders nurture belonging and joy within our membership, when we as leaders genuinely care for each and every member as a person, when we as leaders personally discover what moves each to volunteer, then connect each member to each other, we then will experience the joy of leadership. We will see growth in membership, an increase in member participation, engagement, and yes, even the desire of a few to lead and invest in sustaining AAUW. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Peggy. We're ready to do some questions here. So I had to find Sharon here, and she's going to moderate. So we've got a lot of questions in the chat. Many of them Sharon has been able to answer, but maybe you want to repeat some of the ones that everybody else wants to hear about and also answer new ones. So
Can I comment that people are saying that this is so wonderful, and thank you all to Peggy and Cheryl and Joyce and Claudia for your presentations, because this is a new way of looking at things and we need to think outside the box.
exactly. We had 102 registered tonight, and usually half or less show up. We had 63 people show up tonight and stay.
Wow.
So obviously, this is important and of interest, and people are willing to listen to a new way of approaching our members and recruiting leadership.
There's another question. How does one encourage relationships when using Zoom? Does anybody want to answer that? Because if not, I have an idea.
Go
I'd be
ahead.
No,
happy
you
to.
can
I'd be
have-
happy to. I teach online all the time, been teaching online for over 20 years. And in order, and Zoom was relatively new, but it's just like it is when you're almost face to face. I say almost, but just like what's in there, what I do even with my board meetings, always have an agenda. But I open up the room about 20 minutes, 25 minutes before we start, just for us to get used to it. Mostly it's technology. So, a lot of us have to deal with that issue, and we stay afterwards, who's ever interested. We also have breakout rooms, really using the breakout rooms, but making sure your leaders of the breakout rooms know their task. That's extremely important. You don't want it just to be a gripe session or anything. There has to be clear-cut kinds of objectives that are going through that you're doing that. If it's brainstorming or whatever, you could do a lot of fun things using Zoom.
So my comment is tacking on to what Bev had to say. There are people who are in branches who are very uncomfortable with technology, and they don't even want to touch a computer. You could have viewing parties. You could share a Zoom event in someone's home and invite several people to come. And you can also have training parties. My favorite story about one of last year's annual event happenings. A woman, I don't know who, was 83 years old and she'd never touched a computer, but she wanted to be able to attend the AAUW California annual event. She made her son go with her to Staples and buy all the equipment that she needed to have and get her set up so that she could know how to Zoom for the event. If she can do it, you can do it, and everybody in your branch can do it.
And it's good to identify somebody in your branch who is a technology whiz and ask them if they can support the members by helping them with these kinds of issues. Because sometimes it just is an in-person thing. Go to their house, show them how to sign on, show them how to connect, and set it up so they can. It's pretty easy, and again, you're in a circle of engagement because you're helping them connect to the mission, the branch, and the members.
So I'd like to read this. My observation is that you are all very gracious and welcoming, and that this is a demonstration of exactly what Peggy's presentation is all about, is it not?
Oh, that's
Oh, nice.
Nice comment.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you to our fearless leader.
Can I make one? I would like to highlight what Lotta put in the chat about the connection. We shouldn't discount texting or messaging because a lot of younger women, especially, this is how we communicate. And I'm putting my there. We don't have time. We're working. We have kids. Whatever we have going on. So, and actually using Zoom again is another way to connect with women who are younger, who don't have time to be driving or being in person. They're busy, whatever. But just young people in general use texting, rather than phone calls. So kind of thinking about your audience, but not only doing the meeting in person and the phone calls, but thinking about texting as well.
Is there anyone else have any other questions they didn't put in the chat? Raise your hand, and then you'll pop to the right top of the screen and we can recognize you. Okay. Any other questions? No? Okay.
A lot of
Well,
thank
thank you.
yous.
Oh, well, thank you everyone for participating this evening. Okay. Well, again, I want to thank Peggy. All of you were great contributors to tonight, and we thank you very much for all of your efforts. As Peggy said, this has been months in the making. So thank you very much for tonight, and we'll see you soon. Have a good evening. Bye-bye.
Bye.